Well, happy, healthy, beautiful day, friends. Coach Eric here. I'm with the amazing Dr. Bob Rakowski. And on today's call, we're going to be talking about next level health and performance. We're excited to be here. We had an epic couple of days. We're going to explore a quick conversation around what are the common pillars of health to bring your game to the next level, not just for your everyday life, but for your performance if you are an athlete as well. We had an amazing conversation with many athletes here in the Algarve and many more conversations to come. So, Dr. Bob, just super grateful to have you here once again. I took one of my favorite mantras from you, which is happy, healthy, beautiful day. So I appreciate you passing that on, but also passing on all the knowledge you've been sharing with the world from your heart over the last 3+ decades. So thank you once again for that. And it's a gift to have you here in a gorgeous part of the world.
We'll talk about a gift, right? Look at all this paradise, these great friendships. And when we talk about taking things to the next level, doing it in paradise just seems to even have more value. Yeah. So we had some great events. We already made positive impact that'll probably spill over for decades and maybe even generations. So what a productive and amazing weekend.
Yeah. It just shows you when you have a goal in mind and an intention to work and help certain kinds of people and focus in on what concepts really make a difference, because not everything is for everyone. And, sometimes in life, guys, we try and share ideas with people. They're not ready for that. And you know what? Everyone we spoke to over the last couple of days was absolutely open and ready to improve how they move, improve how they think, exploring all of the Magnificent Seven, and how beautifully that our favorite medicinal mushroom of all time, which we share with the world, is such a powerful component of that pillar system as well. So I would love to ask you, just about sharing after those couple of days and after all the previous years of education that you've had with people, what does it come down to? What are more of those common pillars that you see more often than not that keep cropping up, that makes such a difference across the board, whether you're an athlete or whether you're just an everyday person, but who wants to move better and feel their best?
One, we want to give credence to all the Magnificent Seven. Everybody needs to eat right, drink right, think right, move right, sleep right, poop right, talk right every single day. But we start looking at what are most people deficient in. Besides most of them, let's start with sleep. We quoted Charles Poliquin, the late great, just such a successful strength and conditioning coach, but he said nothing gets you more bang for your buck than sleep. And when we talk with the athletes, certainly they agreed. They get a good night's sleep, they're going to perform a whole lot better. And when they don't, they're not going to.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that can pull us in different directions. I think now with technology, it's amazing. We're streaming right now. We're talking and sharing our ideas with people all over the world, whoever's tuning in or watching in the replays. That's amazing. That didn't used to be here, but everything comes at a cost. And if you overburden yourself with anything or overdo anything, it can become a negative thing. And I think if people are creative with social media and share their passion in social media, it's a great thing. But if they're too much in the consumer end of things, it can drain their energy with too much blue light. It becomes a bad habit. And, we want to be able to create good habits. And when it comes to sleep, we talked about this at the weekend, is what's your sleep habit before you go to sleep? What are you doing? What happens the few hours before? Are you on your phone? Are you stressed? Are you doing things that are bringing you towards a better tomorrow, or laboriously dragging your deficit of energy from today into tomorrow? So I'd love you to just discuss some of the things that people struggle with when it comes to getting the right night's sleep.
Well, electronic sunset, I already mentioned the blue light, which interferes with melatonin. That's one of the main things I recommend. People should cut their food a few hours before bed, especially males, their drink a few hours before bed. Most guys after 40, if they drink something too late, they're going to wake up and pee, and that could disturb their sleep. But then we can talk about the magic of reishi, because it's absolutely proven people that consume it fall asleep faster, sleep deeper longer, wake up more refreshed. And interesting enough, we've got people that drink coffee at midnight, sleep like a baby. Maybe try it, if you're not caffeine sensitive, a little early in the evening, but you'll probably find that your sleep is significantly improved, especially when you can keep score like I do with different types of biotrackers. But easy enough, people need to calm down, not burden their body, mind, or spirit with anything, at least for a couple hours. Then they'll get some good, deep, nourishing sleep. Of course, a relaxed, quiet, cold, dark room helps as well. Sleep hygiene is critical.
Yeah. I quite enjoy the combination of melatonin and our reishi green tea. I know you have introduced the stress drops, or the combination of L-theanine, reishi and reishi spores, and of course melatonin, as a triple threat to help people not only to shift into a more sympathetic or parasympathetic state during their day, but also towards their sleep strategy also. Could you just talk about what kind of an impact that triple thread has kind of had over the last number of years?
Well, huge. Melatonin, they consider the molecule of sleep, but keep in mind, when you take melatonin orally, it doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier. But interestingly enough, what it does is it actually reduces the drive from the brain on the adrenal glands. So it's going to stop the production. The reishi will reduce the amount of circulating stress hormones in the bloodstream. And theanine, amazingly enough, crosses the blood-brain barrier and functions as a very calming chemical. It mimics something called GABA, the most calming brain chemical that we have. So when you have less stress hormones, more calming brain chemistry, there's so many different mechanisms by which that triple threat will get people deeper sleep than ever.
Just when you mentioned about that calming component, we had some amazing events this week, and we're working with all levels of athletes from different backgrounds, but a number of really competitive fighters, or people that are exposed to high levels of stress or have done over the years, and being able to control stress within a stressful situation to come out on top is such a unique advantage. Having that focus, having that awareness, having that clarity of mind as this is my intention. I need to stay in control of my controllables. And the biggest part of that is the brain. How do we nourish the brain? And what you shared about this, and what you shared about the basics of good nutrition, the basics of the timing when you eat, the basics of hydration. If any of those pillars are missing, we're in trouble. It doesn't matter if you're going into the ring or if you're walking out in the street, you're going to be running on a deficit.
Yeah, we can cover all three right now. Eat right, drink right, think right. Because when you look at reishi, top superfood on the planet, all the fabulous 50, all the vitamins, minerals, amino acids, proteins, carbohydrates, fat, fiber, and water. Of course, coffee is 99% water. And if you use good, clean stuff, and we're going to alkalize it with the reishi, we're good there too. And then we've told people for years, the brain is the most nutrient-dependent, energy-dependent, stress-vulnerable, toxin-vulnerable organ that we have. And reishi improves all of those factors. And amazingly, when we asked, what do you feel? Most people felt calmness, and they felt super sharp focus. If you go through life with calm focus, knowing what you want to do, I promise you're going to have a lot better chance getting it.
Before we did the events as well, we always like to have ideal sleep, and sometimes we slip off the edge, but we always want to catch up with the sleep. We don't want to be running on a deficit. But I found an interesting shift with people in the room as we started to move and explore quadrupedal movement, almost like the machine switches on, the CPU switches on. And I love to see that. I love to see the light in people's eyes when they have something in their system that responds quickly, and it lights them up, and it changes their state in such a short period of time. And I think you shocked a number of people at our event with how quickly the nervous system can respond to amazing nutrition, especially our reishi spores, in an instant. It's almost like a magic trick. It's hard to comprehend. Could you just share what were some of the blocks that you were able to relieve in the room with some of the guys, and why is it so hard for people to understand the speed in which the nervous system adapts?
Well, it just looks too good to be true. I guess that's it. I mean, you see people in the audience saying, come on, is that real? Well, come on up here. We'll show you it's real. So we had an elite MMA coach with a 3-year hip problem, and I mean, the guy was walking with a limp. He couldn't run. He couldn't train. He was at risk. He was at risk for injury. And amazingly, reishi reset the system where the muscles would fire. That's very hard for some people to imagine. If you were to YouTube kinesiology and the magic of it, kinesiology is just human motion and the study of human motion. And anything that affects it can affect it at the speed of the nervous system. So you've given plenty of cues where people connect their mind to their muscle. Next thing you know, they have more awareness of their posture, their core, their stabilization. They move better and more pain-free. But biochemically or even energetically, and I don't want to separate the two because we know there's magic energy in there, and some of it's biochemical and some maybe we don't understand just yet. But these elite athletes don't need to be convinced. They put it in their body. They feel the difference right away. You combine that with the right training program, and miracles can happen.
What's the uniqueness? There was something with the oral ingestion of it, literally under the tongue. Can you explain the connection of positioning in the mouth and why that opens up the nervous system so quickly?
Well, if you think about how sensitive the nerves are in your body, I often will take people and I'll take two fingers, maybe this far apart, and I'll touch their back and I'll say, how many fingers are touching your back simultaneously? And they might say one or two. Typically, when I get here, they're going to say that's one, because we don't have much discrimination. But you can separate a micron on the tongue, and those nerves are so sensitive and they're directly connected to the brain. There's a cranial nerve there. You put nutrition in the mouth and the body will respond to it. We've known this for decades. Now, has science fully caught up to it? Not yet. But most people realize that the purpose of the taste buds is not to make eating fun. It's to prepare the body and the nervous system for what's coming. And if it's good, keep going. And if it's not, don't swallow this. Get rid of it.
There we go. I understand as well, just taking it outside of performance, but it shifts into performance, is the connection of the human kiss. I was observing another coach recently talking about the sensory benefit of kissing and how intimate that is, and the connection with the nervous system, and how that really lights people up. And there's nothing that really hits our heart more than a deep, strong hug and a deep, strong kiss. So, the connections to another person through that, as well, as obviously all connected in a powerful way.
I didn't see this transitioning to kissing, but it's a good topic, especially for people that are in love and have that special someone. But part of what people are doing when they're kissing, besides it being so intimate, because there's so much neurology there, is they're actually exchanging microbes. They're priming each other's immune system for what's about to come. And then we can talk about smell too. And we had that fun conversation too. What we realize is that if your partner smells good to you, you're probably a good genetic match to create healthy offspring. If they don't smell good, you probably shouldn't procreate. The studies have shown that the genetics are not as complementary in that circumstance. Right. So share your microbes, make sure you smell good to each other. Some of that's going to be hygiene, but some is just plain body chemistry and compatibility. So we are fascinating creatures. And I think we're just beginning to even get a remote understanding of what we're capable of and where we can go.
And speaking of aromas, all joking aside, of course, we talked about the process of one of your pillars of Poop Right, and the process of detoxification. And if that's giving you feedback, if it's too pungent, let's say, can you just talk about the significance of what you touched on with gut health and how that's so critical for every mechanism in the body, whether you're an athlete or whether you're just an average person wanting to feel the best?
Oh boy, I could probably talk about this for months,
right?
Literally months. But let's just go with this.
Here, I wonder.
Well, Hippocrates made a statement. He said all disease starts in the gut. He was off, but not by much. Modern science says it's 90% between the gut and the microbiome. And I tell people you can solve gut challenges with 5 questions. What are you eating? If God made it, it's okay. If man made it, stay away. How's your digestion? It starts with chewing. It starts with brain. It starts with relaxation. Then you need hydrochloric acid, which so many people are deficient in. Then we've got our pancreas, which is really overburdened, our liver, gallbladder, which are overburdened, the small intestine, which often has overgrowth of bugs, and digestion has to be good. What kind of bugs live in your gut? I tell people the difference between good bugs and bad is what they eat and what they poop. Good bugs eat poop and poop nutrients. Bad bugs eat nutrients and poop toxins. How often do you poop? There's a good question. And by the way, what's the quality of your poop? And there's poop police that are looking on this thing out there. But as I told people, if what's coming out the backside, if you have to fumigate the house, something ain't right. I'm glad you're getting that out of you. And then finally, do you have a leaky gut? Are proteins getting into the system before they're digested? And here's the magic of it. Reishi is a positive factor for all 5 of those components. And by the way, our coffee being alkaline is gut friendly, because nearly 80% of people that don't tolerate coffee don't tolerate the acidity in their gut. And 90% of those on their very first cup are good with ours. And the rest, if they just take a sport capsule with it for a week or so, they're going to be fine. It's absolutely amazing.
Absolutely love it. Yeah. And just when you talk about connectivity and awareness, I think what was really special over the last couple of days was observing people having this in their system and then putting it to the test and challenging their proprioception, challenging their core stability, challenging their awareness and their ability to take in information. Because when you put yourself in that quadrupedal position, you are forced into a sense of new a new world.
Yeah.
And it's not too often. And I love what Mike Fitch brought with this education around quadrupedal training. It's a different game. It has so many crossover benefits for not just performance, but for enhancing how you move through life.
Yeah.
And if you have a fall as you get older, the risks of severe injury or shortening your quality of life go way up, especially after 60. So I'm excited, and I know you are too as well, Anisa, just to be able to create more of these kind of events to highlight the benefits of medicinal mushrooms, particularly reishi, cordyceps, and lion's mane for health and performance. Get people moving, get people connecting, build that culture with people of a real bond, because you know the whole phrase of if you don't have strong beliefs, what's the phrase? If you don't
stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Exactly. Thank you very much for the save. And we want to really inspire people to have those solid beliefs, to reinforce the beliefs that maybe they weren't sure that was what they should be doing, and give them tangible tools that they can go away and work on, that you can increase your chemistry, you can increase your awareness of your own limitations, because as I said in the workshops, you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've seen that over the last few days, but in 34 years of clinical practice, the weakness is the thing that will take you out faster than any of your strengths.
Yeah, you better believe it. And then when we start looking at the Magnificent Seven, most people have a weakness in all seven. And I referenced the International Journal of Sports Nutrition, and it said 99.9% of people walking around are deficient in at least one critical nutrient. So how can you perform at that level? But talk about interacting that in the system. We had a basketball player, 11 years playing as a pro. We tested his vertical. And then we did the taste test. We put reishi right on the tongue. He put 4 centimeters on his vertical. Now, if you're on the English system, that's less than 2 inches, maybe 1.6 inches, something like that. But at that level, at the pro level, 1.6 inches is the difference between getting a shot off and having it blocked, or between not defending a defender or blocking a shot. So this guy knew at that level. And by the way, when people are hurt or having a problem, I've seen as much as 15 centimeters on a vertical, just like that, by activating the nervous system in the right way.
Nice. And I've seen him play as well, Andre. He's so powerful. He's so quick, very precise, very skilled athlete. But as you mentioned yesterday, what if you got speaking to him when he was 19?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Make
That's
changes.
Right. There might have been the extra many mega millions of contracts, like many of my patients have had the joy of signing and experiencing. And by the way, I can't think of a single elite going back 30 plus years that I haven't put on some form of reishi. And for these last 12 years, most of them are getting in their coffee and tea. And of course, consistency wins.
Yeah. And that's the name of the game, is getting the results, being consistent. Doesn't matter what protocol you have, whether it's nutritional, training, mindset, breath work, whatever it is, it's only as good as its application and your consistency within the application. And that's where I think, on a mission to impact 100,000, I think 100,000 lives is small a number. I guess I was trying to be realistic, but we're on the path to millions, to be able to impact people in a real way, in a simple way that they don't have to think about, they don't have to second guess. Put it to the test, and we're here to help facilitate and educate people and inspire people and meet people where they are, because we end the convincing game. Life is too short to be convincing people who aren't open. So with love in our hearts, we say, guys, go seek out the wisdom that you want to enhance. Look for people who have the results that you have, and don't take advice from people who don't have those results, because that's madness. Why would you do that? We're here to facilitate you living your best life. So closing comments or anything you'd like to add, just on what you've experienced?
Well, just the pure joy of seeing you in your element, and we all should function in our element. When we are aligned with our purpose, with our mission, with our best self, and doing what we love, I mean, time flies. Our first event was 6 hours, and I looked at you and you looked at me. It's like, is it really that time already? Where did that go? Between just having good movement and then good coffee and good communication, sharing the Magnificent Seven and how reishi interacts. Here's what I'll tell you. If you haven't experienced it, you owe it to yourself to experience it. And we're happy to help with that. Or maybe one of our brand ambassador partners can help.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, your last call as well. Any coaches, any content creators out there as well, we particularly want to work with to help you up your game, add more value to the world. Please reach out to us. Let us know. we're curious at least to know how you guys are planning to hit that 100,000, or in this case, multiple millions, because it's en route, it's happening, and we'd love to have that conversation. But One Box Experience, guys, put this to the test. You're looking at a real life Bradley Cooper in Limitless 9 years ago, who was a skeptic, who said, I'd never heard of reishi. Or actually, I had heard of reishi, but I wasn't sure about what the benefits were. But first cup, super focused, super energized, just felt very calm, and knew that this was a good thing. But the biggest thing for me, Dr. Bob, the two biggest things was Isa's response with her digestive health after 3 weeks of having a struggle for so many years. And my mum. My mum, actually, we did a video here a few months ago, a fun reels around inflammation in her hands. And I was just saying to her, Mum, she's asking, why are we doing this? And Mum, how many mums are out there that their kids love and care about would absolutely love to be able to help their parents with inflammation in some capacity by you making a silly video right now? So we still have to edit that one and put that into the ether. But inflammation and pain is what everyone's introduced to, inflammation and pain. But it's how you buffer that and how you adapt around that to live your best life, I think is a really important aspect. So I would love you just to speak before, just as we wrap up, the impact inflammation can have on the body if you don't buffer it and you don't take steps to pivot and move in a certain way that honors your physiology and change your chemistry with alkaline-rich foods to help buffer that inflammation.
Well, one, let's just go with the medical literature because I teach doctors, and inflammation is the link between suboptimal lifestyle choices and chronic disease. It's always there. And 83 cents of every sick care dollar spent, at least in the Western part of the world, is spent on chronic issues that medicine doesn't have a solution to. But solving the bad choice and solving the inflammation takes care of it right then and there. And so there's medical conditions. We don't want to name too many of them. You go to PubMed and type in reishi or Ganoderma and some type of inflammatory condition. One, it's anti-inflammatory by 15 different mechanisms, but there are medically named conditions where people really suffer and they're not giving answers, where this is proven to be clinically effective for it. And most people don't care. What does an article say? What is it going to do in my body? Again, there's only one way you're going to know. And these elites, more than half the people in both venues, they notice calm, focus, energy. Who doesn't want that? Yeah. And why didn't the other half know it? Well, I don't know that they were as in tune with their body. You're very in tune. You notice everything just like that. I'm becoming more in tune. I notice most things pretty quick. But let's face it, elites are in a whole different category. And we had a bunch of them. And the majority of them instantly knew that this was quite good for them.
Beautiful. So, guys, if you're watching on Insta or in our group on Facebook, drop a coffee mug in the comments if you want to try our One Box Experience. And of course, if you're checking us out on our YouTube channel as well, we appreciate you jumping in here. We're going to be doing more of these conversations in the future as well. Dr. Just a privilege to have you here. What a great friend, what a great mentor, what an inspiration to share information with, and what an honor it is to have you in our lives. So thank you very much.
Hey, the honor is mine. Here's what I've got to tell you.
Nice.
The best part of all this, certainly we've helped tens of thousands on our way to hundreds of thousands, but it's the friendships.
Yeah.
Coming to Europe and just spending time with fabulous people, you and Isa getting that extra time and that extra special everything, because you're extra special. You're amazing people, and I love you both. So thanks for making our world better.
I wouldn't be able to do half of this stuff without Isa, because she makes me look better than I am, But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Love to you all. See you on the next video, and we hope you guys have the best day ever. Ciao for now. That's a toast.